Have you ever found yourself scrolling through your phone while half listening to a friend, thinking about tomorrow's deadlines, and eating lunch, all at the same time? If you're like most people living in today's fast-paced world, your answer is probably yes. We've grown so used to being busy that being present feels almost unnatural. I used to be that way too, juggling 5 things at once, always running on autopilot. I thought multitasking was productive. I thought stress was just part of being an adult. Until one day, during a burnout so deep I could barely get out of bed, I stumbled upon the teachings of a gentle Vietnamese monk named Thich Nhat Hanh. He said, "Smile, breathe, and go slowly." And just like that, something shifted. I realized I had forgotten how to simply be. This is where mindfulness entered my life, not as a big spiritual awakening, but as a quiet whisper, reminding me to come back to myself. And that's what this journey is about. In this series from Mindfulness Channel, we'll explore what mindfulness really means, how it can change your life, and how to begin. No incense required, no lotus pose necessary. You'll meet everyday people who've transformed through simple mindful practices, and will clear up common myths that might be holding you back. You don't have to become a monk, shave your head, or retreat to a mountaintop. Mindfulness isn't about escaping the world. It's about learning to live more fully in it. When Thien Su Vien Minh, a respected Vietnamese Zen master, speaks about mindfulness, he describes it not as a technique, but as a natural awareness, a gentle attention that you can bring into everything: washing dishes, walking in the park, even stuck in traffic. The same view is echoed by American teachers like Sharon Salzberg, Jack Kornfield, and Jon Kabat-Zinn, pioneers who helped bring mindfulness to the West in ways that make sense for modern life. This isn't a trend. It's a way back to ourselves. Back to the quiet confidence underneath the chaos. Back to the breath that's always there. Back to this moment, this very moment, as it is. So whether you're curious, skeptical, or already somewhere on the path, you're in the right place. Let's begin together. Let's be honest, mindfulness can sound a little vague. It's one of those words that gets tossed around in wellness apps, corporate workshops, and yoga studios. Some people think it's just sitting in silence with your eyes closed. Others assume it means being calm all the time, like some kind of spiritual robot. But real mindfulness is far more alive and more human than any of that. Mindfulness simply means being fully present. It's the practice of paying attention, on purpose, to what's happening right now, in your body, your thoughts, your emotions, and the world around you, without trying to fix, judge, or run away from it. As Thich Nhat Hanh beautifully said, mindfulness is the energy that helps us recognize the conditions of happiness that are already present in our lives. It's not about forcing yourself to be peaceful. It's about noticing what's actually happening. Maybe you feel anxious. Maybe you're breathing fast. Maybe there's a soft breeze on your skin, and gently bringing your awareness to it without harsh commentary. That's it. No magic, no perfection, just presence. So what does mindfulness look like in everyday life? It can be as simple as feeling the warm water on your hands while doing the dishes, noticing your breath before answering an email, pausing to really taste your morning coffee, listening, really listening, when your child or partner speaks, realizing you're caught in a spiral of overthinking and gently returning to the here and now. Even just asking yourself, what's happening right now? And taking a breath is an act of mindfulness. The Vietnamese Zen master Thien Su Vien Minh often describes mindfulness not as something to do, but something to become aware of. He says awareness is already present. You don't create it. You just stop overlooking it. That's a powerful shift. The science catches up. In recent decades, scientists have begun to study what Buddhist monks and meditation teachers have known for thousands of years. Research from institutions like Harvard and UCLA shows that practicing mindfulness can reduce stress and anxiety, improve focus and memory, enhance emotional regulation, strengthen the immune system, even increase gray matter in areas of the brain related to learning and empathy. But you don't need a lab coat to prove it. If you've ever taken a mindful breath in the middle of chaos, you've felt the power for yourself. Not just for monks. Mindfulness may have its roots in ancient Buddhist teachings, but it's not limited to monasteries or spiritual seekers. People from all walks of life are embracing it. Nurses, soldiers, school teachers, athletes, corporate leaders, and single parents. American teachers like John Kabat-Zinn, creator of the mindfulness-based stress reduction program, Tara Brach, and Joseph Goldstein have helped make mindfulness accessible to millions without watering it down. They show that you don't need a specific belief system to practice mindfulness. You just need curiosity and a willingness to slow down, even for a few moments. As Tara Brach says, the moment you realize you're not present, you're already back. That's the beauty of this practice. You can always begin again. Mindfulness isn't about escaping. It's not about zoning out. It's about tuning in. It's not a bubble bath for the brain. It's a flashlight, shining attention on your real experience so you can respond with wisdom instead of reacting from habit. As Thich Nhat Hanh reminds us, the present moment is filled with joy and happiness. If you are attentive, you will see it. So mindfulness isn't some fancy concept reserved for retreats in the woods. It's available right now while you read these words. Feel your breath. Notice your posture. Be here. You're already practicing. If you're like most people, your to-do list never ends, your phone never stops buzzing, and your mind is constantly running 1,000 miles an hour. You wake up thinking about the next meeting, check emails over break fast, respond to texts during lunch, and then scroll through the news in bed. Somewhere along the way, you forget to breathe. Mindfulness matters because it helps us remember. Remember to live, not just exist. Remember to actually taste the food, feel the sunlight, hear your child laugh. Remember that we're human beings, not human. Doings, Thich Nhat Hanh used to say, when you wash the dishes, wash the dishes. It sounds simple, but how often are we really there for our lives? Most of yous are lost in thought or worry, replaying the past or predicting the future. Meanwhile, life is happening right there. Mindfulness brings us back. It gives us a way to step out of autopilot and meet each moment with presence instead of reactivity. You feel the anger rising, and instead of lashing out, you breathe. You notice the sadness instead of numbing it with Netflix or snacks. You hear the inner critic, and instead of believing every word, you observe with compassion. Thien Suvian Minh teaches that suffering arises when we're unaware of our inner states. He says mindfulness doesn't fix suffering. It transforms our relationship to it. You stop fighting reality and start understanding it. Science backs this up. Studies from Harvard show that people are happier when they're present, even if the present moment isn't pleasant. Think about that. You could be stuck in traffic, but if you're truly there with yourself, you're more at peace than if your mind is wandering somewhere else. Mindfulness. Sissel so crucial because of the world we live in. We're bombarded with noise, opinions, outrageous speed, and distraction. Everything is designed to hijack our attention. In this kind of world, mindfulness becomes a radical act. It's choosing to slow down when everything tells you to speed up, choosing to feel instead of numb, to listen instead of react, to care instead of consume. John Kabat-Zinn once said, mindfulness is about falling awake, no to sleep, not checked out, but wide awake to your life. And this matters because life is short, really short. The average person gets about 4,000 weeks on this planet. How many of those do want to spend half present, half alive? Imagine instead bringing presence into ordinary moments. Brushing your teeth, walking to your car, making coffee. Not because it's spiritual, but because it's your life. You don't have to be a Zen master. You just have to pause long enough to notice what's already here. The first time I practiced mindfulness seriously, it wasn't during a retreat or a Naples. It was sitting on a park bench after a really hard week. I just let myself feel the breeze and listen to the trees. And for those 10 minutes, I wasn't a problem to be solved. I was just a person being alive. That moment changed everything. So why does mindfulness matter? Because it gives us back our lives. Because it turns everyday moments into sacred ones. Because it helps us suffer less, love more, and live more fully. And because the present moment is the only place life ever really happens, you don't need to sit in a mountain to practice mindfulness. You don't need incense, soft music, or a special cushion. All you need is a moment and your attention. Let's start simple. Take a breath right now. Don't try to change it, just notice it. That's mindfulness. It begins here. It begins here. One of Thich Nhat Hanh's most famous practice phrases is mindful breathing. He would say, breathing in, I know I am breathing in, breathing out. I know I am breathing out. You can even shorten it, in, out. You don't need to control the breath or breathe a certain way. Just let it flow naturally. Be with it. Feel it. That's it. You can practice this anywhere, in line at the grocery store, before answering a stressful mail, while walking from the car to your house. Any moment can become a moment of presence. Another practice is mindful walking. Thich Nhat Hanh called it walking just to walk, not to get somewhere, but arrive in the here and now with every step. He said every step can bring us home. You don't need a forest or a quiet street. Just take a few steps and feel your feet touching the earth. Feel the weight, the movement, their rhythm. Let your breath and steps come together like a cock. White dance. Jon Kabat-Zinn calls this everyday mindfulness, being where you are. When you're washing the dishes, just wash the dishes. Feel the waters meld the soap. Notice their resistance. Notice the peace that comes when you stop rushing. Many people think meditation has to belong or serious. It doesn't start with 5 minutes. Sit comfortably. Close your eyes or keep them soft. Feel your breath. When your mind wanders, which it will gently bring it back. No judgment. Just return again and again. This is the muscle you're building, not silence or stillness, but returning again. And again. That's mindfulness. Sung Vien Min often says that mindfulness is not about doing, but about recognizing. Recognizing the thoughts without following them. Recognizing the feelings without becoming them. It's like sitting by a river watching leaves float by. You don't have to jump in. Just notice and breathe. You can also bring mindfulness into daily routines. Eating, take one bite and really taste it. Notice the texture, the temperature, the flavor. Chew slowly. Put the fork down between bites. You may be surprised how different food feels when we're actually present for it. Sharon Salzberg says mindfulness is a way of coming home to ourselves. Even in chaos, we can find stillness. Even in pain, we can find gentleness. The key is consistency, not perfection. You don't need to be calm to be mindful. You don't need to clear your mind or feel peaceful. You just need to notice, to show up, to be curious. 5 minutes a day is a great place to start. Put a reminder on your phone. Leave a sticky note on your mirror. Inhale, exhale, you're here. That's the practice. Over time, those small moments add up. You become less reactive, more ground. You start airing your inner voice more clearly. You begin to live instead of just survive. It's not about escaping your life. It's about stepping into it more fully. One breath, one step. One cup of tea at a time. Mindfulness sounds simple, but for many people, it feels out of reach. Not because it's hard, but because of the stories we tell ourselves about what it's supposed to be. Let's clear some of that up. One of the most common myths is that mindfulness means having no thoughts. People say I can't meditate because I think too much. Guess what? Everyone thinks too much. Even monks. Thich Nhat Hanh used to say that the mind is like a monkey jumping from branch to branch. The goal isn't to stop the monkey. The goal is to observe it with kindness. That's mindfulness. Not a blank. Mind Buddha. Curious one. Another myth. That mindfulness is only for calm people. This is completely backwards. Mindfulness isn't the result of calm, it's the path to calm. You bring mindfulness to your anger, to your anxiety. You don't need to fix yourself first. You come easy. You are. Sung Vien Min teaches that even restlessness can be met with awareness. You don't have to push anything away. You just recognize it. He says awareness is already whole. Nothing needs to be added. People also believe that mindfulness is only for spiritual or religious people. But modern mindfulness is open to everyone. Jon Kabat-Zinn created the mindfulness-based stress reduction program for hospitals. It's been used by doctors, veterans, teachers, CEOs, students, and even prisoners. You don't have to believe anything special. You just have to pay attention. There's also a myth that you have to sit cross-legged for an hour every day. Nope, you can practice mindfulness sitting in a chair, in bed, walking to your car. You can start with one breath. 1 minute, one moment of noticing your feet on the floor. Jack Kornfield says that the point of mindfulness isn't to escape life. It's to enter it more fully. It's not about becoming someone different. It's about remembering who you already are. Many people think mindfulness means being passive or not taking action. But being mindful doesn't mean being a doormat. It means responding instead of reacting, seeing clearly instead of blindly reacting out of habit. That's actually where real strength comes from. Some people worry that mindfulness will make them too soft, but it's actually the opposite. It builds resilience. When you can stay with your experience, even Hennett Shard, you become stronger, not weaker. And then there's the myth that mindfulness should feel good all the time. Sometimes it does, but sometimes it brings a pain. That's normal. It's not failure, it's honesty. Sharon Salzberg says mindfulness isn't about being comfortable. It's about being real. And when you're real, you have the power to change how you relate to your life. So if you've ever told yourself, I'm too distracted, or I'm not spiritual, or I don't have time, just know that's not truth. That's a story, and you can let it go. Mindfulness is for everyone. Busy people, tired people, angry people, sad people. It's for you. You don't have to get it perfect. You just have to begin. You already have what you need. Your body, your attention. The door is open. Just walk through real life stories. Sometimes mindfulness can sound abstract, but the truth is it's deeply personal. It changes lives not in the Ori, but in kitchens, in hospital rooms, in traffic jams and lonely nights. Let's meet a few real people whose lives have been transformed, not by escaping reality, but by coming closer to it. Sarah, he's a nurse in New York. She found mindfulness during the pandemic. She said every day felt like a war zone. There were moments when she wanted to scream or cry or just disappear. One day after a long shift, she sat in her care and remembered something she heard in a podcast, Just Breathe. So she closed her eyes, 1 breath, 2, 10. That night was the first time she didn't cry herself to sleep in weeks. She started using those 10 breaths every day before walking into the hospital. She told us mindfulness didn't make the chaos disappear, but it helped her stay human inside it. Mike is a veteran. After returning from Afghanistan, has struggled with PTSD. Loud noises made him jump. Sleep was nearly impossible. He was angry all the time. Then a friend invited him to a mindfulness workshop run by a former Marine. Mike was skeptical at first, but something about the silence gave him space he hadn't felt in years. He said it was the first time he realized he wasn't broken, just overwhelmed. Now we practice 10 minutes a day and attends a weekly group. His words, mindfulness didn't change my past, but it changed how I live with it. Lene's a mother of 3. She found mindfulness when she realized she was yelling at her kids more than laughing with them. She came across a video by Sharon Salzberg and has decided to try something simple. Feel your feet, take a breath, don't react. She started pausing before she spoke. He learned to breathe when she felt the storm rising. She didn't become a perfect mom, but she became a more present one. Now, where children sometimes remind her to breathe. David is a tech executive in Silicon Valley. On paper, he was successful, but inside he was burning out. He couldn't sleep. He couldn't slow down. He said his mind was like a browser with 100 tabs open. Then a colleagues heard a quote from Thithan's smile. Breathe Goslily Haloft at first, but something in him cracked. He started going on mindful walks. No phone, no podcast, no multitasking. Just footsteps and breath. He said it's the best leadership training he's ever had. Not all stories are dramatic. Some are quietly powerful, like Jamie, a college student who learned to bring mindfulness to their anxiety, or Maria, who started drinking tea mindfully after watching our treat video with Tien Su Vien Min, or Josh, who sits in silence for 3 minutes every morning before checking his phone. These are not spiritual gurus. They are not monks or masters. They are people like you. John Kabat-Zinn often says that mindfulness is about living your one wild and eos life with attention, and attention is something we can all practice. You don't need a perfect environment. You don't need a quiet life. You just need to show up for the life you already have. Thich Nhat Hanh said that peace is every step. These stories remind us that each of us has the capacity to take that step right where is where. And that's the real magic of mindfulness. It doesn't change who you are. It helps you remember who you are, even in the middle of pain, even in the noise, even in the ordinary. Your breath is always there, waiting. Your life is always here. Closing and call to action. So here you are. You've made it through a journey of presence, not a journey across distance, but across attention, across the space between distraction and awareness. Maybe somewhere along the way, something inside you softened or awakened, or simply paused long enough to notice the breath moving in and out of your body. That alone is enough. That alone is beautiful. Thich Nhat Hanh reminds us that the miracle is not walking on water. The miracle is walking on the earth with full awareness this moment, this step, this breath. That's the miracle. And the invitation is this: don't just understand mindfulness. Live it, don't wait for the perfect morning, the quiet house, the right meditation cushions. Start now right where you are, while reading these words, while feeling your feet on the floor, while hearing the subtle hum of the world around you. Mindfulness is not a task to complete, it is a way of being, a way of coming home. Song Vian Min teaches that peace is not something we create, it is something we uncover, already there beneath our busyness, our fear, our endless trying. You don't need to add anything. You just need to see. Every time you stop, every time you pause, every time you notice your breath without judgment, you are planting a seed of presence, a seed of kindness, a seed of clarity. And the world needs that now more than ever. The world needs people who can respond with awareness instead of react with anger, who can listen before speaking, who can breathe before blaming, who can simply be fully here and know that is enough. So here is the call: keep going. Keep practicing, not to reach a goal, but to live your life more fully. Join us at the Mindfulness channel, where we share gentle sadhus, wisdom from teachers, reflections for daily life, and stories from people just like you. You are not alone on this path. The breath is always with you. The present moment is always waiting. And in the words of Thich Nhat Hanh, you have an appointment with life. And that appointment is now. Let's keep walking this path together, with eyes open, with hearts soft, with feet touching the earth, mindfully, gently, fully alive.